Saying good morning to those of you listening Classic Radio 105.5, 105.9. Good morning to you once again. Those of you viewing GBN TV, whether it's Channel 7, Channel 11 or Channels 20, good morning and welcome to another edition of To The Point. Today being Friday, the 19th of January. We passed the midway mark of January, getting into February. It's so soon. Good morning, everybody, once again. Our social media audience, good morning to those of you via the Facebook page, YouTube channels. Good morning and welcome. To have guests in studio with me this morning. Of course, two lovely ladies, I may say, and I promised I will introduce them by their first names. So let's say good morning to Lisa and good morning to Michelle. Good morning to you, ladies, and welcome to The Point.
Good morning to you, GT.
Yeah.
We're happy to be here.
Nice to have you. Nice to have you also.
I should say Happy New Year.
Yes.
Yeah. But also Happy Independence, because maybe I won't get the opportunity to say it again to you.
Well, I appreciate it a whole lot. I send it back in return to both of you.
Thank you.
All right. Well, nice to have you both in studio with me this morning. And of course, this is Lisa, matter of fact. And Lisa is part of Creating Lasting Solutions. And she will tell you a whole lot about that particular institution when we do get to speak to her. We have Michelle, who's of course part of Advocacy. I hope I'm getting the name right. Advocacy. Yeah, she told me make sure I get it right. Advocacy, Grenada, Inc. And we're going to be talking this morning. Interesting conversation we're going to be having this morning. And for those of you who are listening and viewing, there's probably something in there that where we grab your interest just a wee bit. You may want to participate in what's going to be taking place. You also feel free to give us a call when we do permit you to. You probably will have a question or two you may want to ask Lisa or Michelle. Now, let's start the conversation off with Michelle this morning. Tell us about Advocacy Grenada, Inc. Tell us a little bit about that.
Right. So, Advocacy Grenada, Inc. is a non-governmental organization, actually formed in August of 2023. That is last year.
Yes.
And the focus is on advocating, promoting, and creating opportunities for people with disabilities, allowing for them to live that quality of life here in Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. So our focus is on working for and with people with disabilities here in Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. And that will involve working with families, working with the people themselves, working with communities, working with essential workers, working with the government in making sure that we have the appropriate legislation that we would have ratified, that of the rights of the Convention of the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. But it doesn't stop there. So we want to more or less, when it comes to legislation, be also shadowing some of the reports that the government is expected to write to the United Nations Committee, so that we too can make sure, add to the discussion. We can also write our reports as well in sync with, okay, yes, this is what the government is saying is happening for people with disabilities and their human rights. Yes, the report is correct, or maybe there are things that we would analyze differently. So we are looking at working for and with people with disabilities, allowing for them to have that independent living, to attain their full potential.
All right.
Now is the appropriate time for this to happen, that we're talking about independence. So we want for people with disability to be a part of this
level of independence themselves.
Level of independence.
So I do understand, of course, your explanation of the group. What was the reason, you think, for starting up a group of that nature, grouping of that nature?
Well, people who know me know that my background is working with children with special needs.
Okay.
And it is out of that. A lot of my colleagues and friends have been saying, Misha, it's time for us to really hit this going. And I saw the need. Parents normally reach out to me. I do not have all the answers. So it was important for me to collaborate and work with like-minded persons as myself.
All right.
And that is how the NGO, not the group, but the organization, Advocacy Grenada Inc. came about. So we are registered here in Grenada, legally registered. We have a board of directors, Ms. Griffith here being one of the directors of Advocacy Grenada Inc. And we thought that it would be best to start off with communication, being able to communicate people with disabilities, being able to communicate with their parents, with their family, their families being able to communicate with people with disabilities, being able to communicate with their counselors, their social workers, and so on. And we decided that for our launch, which will be taking place next week, that's on Wednesday the 24th, to start off with a training in relation to communication, solutions, finding solution. And that is where Ms. Griffith
comes in. I mean, you'll get a whole lot of information from, of course, Lisa shortly. My another question towards you, how has individuals before, I mean, I'm assuming you've been doing stuff already. And you have the official launch, not as yet, but for what you're going to be doing. But how has individuals with disabilities and so forth has been accepting this particular grouping of yours?
Right. So what is good is that on board with us, we do have people with disabilities.
Okay.
And our public relations officer, known to us in Parliament and so, Zinzi Noel,
okay.
All right, who has disabilities as well as, the thing about it is that in Grenada, we look sometimes at physical disabilities.
Because it's what's visual to us.
What is visual to us.
Yes.
But I can be sitting here with you, and I may have a learning disability. I may have a cognitive disability. I may have an intellectual disability that is not seen, that is invisible. And we have to realize that here in Grenada, we do have that as well. So I've been having a lot of conversations. This is the work that I'm in. So I'm involved with people with disabilities. Right. So it's our decision is to have data collection. So whenever we have activities, we will be doing data collection in terms of data on people with disabilities.
How do you go about identifying individuals of that nature?
Right. Well, there are so many different ways we can do so. It is not a one-off. For example, if it is somebody with a hearing loss, of course, they will have to do an assessment. So an assessment, whether it's vision and so on. So the important part here is being assessed, right? And you must be assessed by professionals. It might be a multidisciplinary team to assess someone. For example, autism. It cannot just be a medical doctor to say that someone is autistic. They're on the spectrum.
Yes.
But it would be made up of a multidisciplinary team, the educational psychologist, the teacher, the parent, the doctor, and so on, that will make up that team. And sometimes you have to observe that person for a period of time before you diagnose. So it's not just about a one-off, just seeing someone and saying, this person is autistic.
So we're going to help you.
Right.
But my next question that comes in, how do you, how does your group fit in? Where does your group get that call in to offer the assistance?
Right. So now what is going to be happening is that within our group, we would have professionals.
Yes.
Persons who, from the medical field, persons who are trained in social work and psychology and so on, that will be part of the team. So what is going to be happening is that we are going to be having, whether it's training, we can do assessments as well. We can offer that from our group because of the professionals who are within our group.
All right.
Right.
So they will tell you, well, there's a particular case that you think that your group should be involved in, and something
right.
like that.
So what is going to happen is that we intend to set up a secretariat.
Okay.
So when we set up the secretariat, people with disabilities would be able to come to us and tell us about some of their needs. So, for example, we want to assist people with disabilities in finding housing. Just as how we are providing housing for the rest of our citizens, people with disabilities too as well need to live that quality of life.
Yeah.
So what about us having a community where we can have people housing, where people with disabilities can live independently? You go to other countries and there are sometimes communities where people with disabilities live. And what you find, the essential workers, such as the social worker and so, will pay periodic visits to them to make sure that everything is going fine with them. Mm-hmm. You monitor and so to make sure everything is going well with them, whether someone with Down syndrome, someone with Asperger's syndrome, wherever it is, whatever disability that you have, that you're monitored and so by the social worker. So I think things like that we will be presenting to the government that we need to have more independent living for people with disabilities. Why do they have to live at home forever with their parents?
And I'm sure you will also be speaking to government about advocating for, public spaces also.
That is right.
If folks goes out into the public, folks with wheelchairs and stuff, make sure the proper access
and so on. So that I believe we've been hearing a lot about.
Yes.
But you know what is important? Is the legislation.
Yeah.
If we do not have the policies in place, then we cannot hold government, against things like that. So we must first advocate for legislation, having a Disability Act in Grenada. So we have to have the conversation with the Ministry of Social Services, Social Development, so that we can have for 2024, we can see that Disability Act being put in place, or at least the start of having our Disability Act for persons with disability, because it doesn't stop with ratifying the Convention for the Rights of Persons with Disability. We have to go beyond. We're speaking about up, but it also means taking the people with disabilities along with
carrying
us.
it along.
Yes.
But just as you mentioned, maybe I could ask, is there really a Disability Act in Grenada?
No, there isn't. So that is why I'm saying we now need to have the conversation, and we now need to not just have the conversation, but we now need to put pen to paper and start having that paper where we can say this is a Disability Act.
I asked the question because I always hear folks speaking about disability, and I never knew there were another an act that represents for folks with disability.
Right. So what do we hold our government? What do we hold them against? There isn't anything. So we need to move forward.
All right. We due for a break. Let's take a first break. When we come back, Lisa, we're going to get in the conversation. You've been sitting there nicely and listening, of course, to Michelle speaking for a while. We're going to take it up to you when we come back. Stay with us, folks. We come back right after the break. Don't touch your dial.
Celebrate Christmas and New Year with the NLA's exciting You Must Win promotion. Spend $15 or more in a single ticket purchase on Daily Pick 3, Daily Cash 4, or Playway, and just like that, you have chances to win prizes valued at over $100,000. Winning is easy. Simply check your tickets for the words "You won," free cash, free phones, free tablets, or free Instacash tickets. But wait, that's not all. You can also win free raffle entries for chances to win not one but 2 cars in NLA's You Must Win promotion. Promotion runs December 1st, 2023 to January 31st, 2024. Terms and conditions apply. You must be 18 and over to participate. The NLA, making your Christmas and New Year dreams come true.
Mentioned wing high, and you have things like manuals, close combat, We have the low folder.
It is kind of like the same man, and it's just different name for the same kind of thing.
And last but not least, I just want to say to all the men who saw me, call me, and ask for a piece of cake. I'm baking this weekend.
Join us Fridays at 8 on GBN Television, K105 FM, GBN's Facebook page and YouTube channel for We Culture.
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back, viewers. Once again, to the point for today, Friday, the 19th day of January. Once again, I have Lisa and Michelle with me this morning, and of course, it's already geared to be an interesting conversation. As I mentioned just before the break, that's what we're going to get Lisa in here for a bit. And Lisa is part of creating lasting solutions. Lisa, once again, good morning and welcome once again. Tell us about creating a lasting solution. That particular company that you are part of. Let's tell us about that a wee bit.
So that's a private business of mine. I'm the CEO, and it's a therapeutic services I provide in the U.S., providing therapy for mental health issues and other family crises. And so I started this in 2011, and so it's a part-time hobby and a joy of mine to do therapy in the evening and the weekends, whatever is needed in emergency. I'm like a crisis person. I love crisis. I love emergency situation with families. I think I've been trained by working in the community with kids who are gang violence behavior. So I think they trained me and they kind of etched me in that area where crisis is something that I thrive on.
What drove you to starting this in particular?
Well, because I'm the director of a nonprofit organization in Washington, D.C., and so from that experience of seeing some of the trauma and experience that people experience in the field, I said I need to do more of myself for families, especially couples and families who are going through crisis. So I started my private practice in the evenings and weekends and started seeing people at a very minimal cost because, again, it was not about the money so much, but about helping to change lives and transform lives by learning to know what people want. So this is why I started my business.
All right. Now, tell us, you're here to be part of the official launch. We're going to get here more about the launch, but tell us what part are you going to be geared up, and of course, in this particular, being part of the Advocacy Grenada.
So this is a great opportunity. I'm so excited to be here. I'm so excited about the invitation to be here. I've been trying to be here for a long time to share.
Welcome. You've been sharing. You've been looking at the program a whole lot, also.
Yeah, so to share some of the knowledge I've gained over the years. I trained nationally, internationally for the last 15 years on solution-focused brief therapy approach, and this is what I'm going to be doing this next week, Wednesday. Right. I'm training on introduction to solution focus, how to have a conversation where people felt that they're listened to. We have a way as social workers and providers to talk to and at people, right? And so my training is about how to listen to what people are asking for, what they're saying, and not what I think that they're trying to say or what I think they should say. And so the goal is to help train individuals to listen for what our clients, our providers, or whoever we work with was saying. And it's also an approach that's worked in business. You could do solution focus in any aspect of life, and that will help you get the edge in things. But it's the idea for this next week, Wednesday, is to train workers who are in the helping field, in human service field, to become more in tune with their client or the participants in the program, whether it's group or individual or in school setting, how to talk to people so that they know that you are listening to them. Because if you're talking to me and you're not paying attention, then I feel disrespected. And a lot of times clients complain that, I don't like her. And what they're trying to say is that she's not into me. She's not aware of what I'm feeling. So my goal is to train workers to realize clients have feelings and they want to know that you're listening to them.
How important it is to listen to someone?
Oh my gosh. So, in couples, right? When you do couples therapy, right? What's the biggest fight that happens in couples?
You're not listening to me.
You're not listening to what I'm saying.
It doesn't mean I get into couples fight.
You're not listening to what I'm saying. You're not hearing me, right?
Yeah.
So it's the same thing with our clients. They say they're not. Some of them, they don't say it the way that we want to hear it, but they can tell you when they're not feeling respected, because listening is a form of respect, right? And so if a client feels that you're not listening to them, if I feel you're not listening to me, I feel disrespected, I feel dismissed. And so I may be able to say to you, hey, you're not listening to me. But some of our clients dismiss you by not showing up for appointments, not calling back, walking away, things like that, and not addressing their issues because I, as a worker, didn't listen to them. So listening is key to all of our lives. It's something that is so important for us to practice. And sometimes we say we are good listeners, but sometimes we are not really good listeners.
We hear us,
but we're not good listeners. And a lot of
that's
providers,
a big difference, right?
Exactly. A lot of providers believe that we have a degree, we went to school. No. Listening is an art. It's something you have to practice. I have to practice it daily. I've been doing it for 20-something years. I still have to practice daily in my private practice, listening for what I hear, what I'm hearing, and ask questions. Like you do in an interview. I was just telling you on the break that you actually passed the class.
Thank you.
You did a good job.
All right. Now, let's go to Michelle once again. Michelle, tell us about the launch that is coming up.
Right.
What the launch is going to be about, what's going to be entailed, and so forth.
Great. So people might be wondering, why then are we bringing in solution focus at the launch?
Yeah.
But we need to actually start somewhere, and it is that of communication. As Lisa would say sometimes, we know what the issues are, we know what the problems are, but it's now about solution. So we know that there are people with disabilities in Grenada. We know that there are barriers to inclusion. We know the barriers exist, but how do we solve? How do we start the conversation? How do we communicate? How do we have the discussion? So it is on this background that we are bringing in, or we have brought in or invited Miss Griffith, who is also a director of Advocacy Grenada. to more or less launch out at the opening or the launch of Advocacy Grenada with this very particular topic, that of communicating.
All right.
And because of that, we have, as we said, we have invited counselors and so on. What is going to be happening at the launch? We are going to have the training first, and that will be followed by the launch of Advocacy Grenada Inc. We have invited, we cannot invite everybody, so we have invited a few of our stakeholders to be there for the launch. We are going to be presenting or unveiling the plans of Advocacy Grenada Inc. for people with disabilities and their families. We are also going to be presenting our participants with certificates for the amount of hours that they would have been trained in solution therapy. They will be presented with a certificate as well during the launch, which will be on Wednesday, the 24th of January. And that will be taking place from 9 in the morning, the training, and that will be followed by the launch. Unfortunately, it will only be by invitation that you can attend the launch, even if we're trying to be as inclusive as possible. But of course, the capacity, the space to hold everybody. But if people come along, of course, we won't turn them back. But it is mostly by invitation for the launch due to the space that we have available. So it's going to be at the Olympic House, Montrouge. That is where we'll be having the launch.
Okay, great. Certainly hope, I wish for a successful launch also.
Thank you.
Now, back to Lisa once again. Of course, you're having that 2-day workshop.
One day. It's going to be
just one day.
Yeah. Yes.
My bad. I was just reading off for the one day.
Yeah.
You have that 1-day workshop. What do you expect participants to absorb from that particular?
Wonderful. My goal for them to walk away with an idea about learning something about themselves.
Yes.
We as providers must keep learning. So learning something about themselves, be open-minded to learn something about who you are as a person in the space of your job, in the space of what you do. So one of the things to walk away with the knowledge of solution focus, the tenets of solution focus, all the different skills areas in solution focus work, but more so for what my passion is, transforming people, transforming providers to become better workers, better helpers to our communities. And we have not arrived. We will never arrive. We're always learning and always gaining information and knowledge. And how we grow is by what our clients tell us, how they engage with us. We learn a lot about ourselves. So there's need to be a sense of humility in embracing the fact that we need to gain more knowledge to do a better job of what we do.
You know, some individuals go with that know-it-all attitude too, especially when they're I know this and I know that.
Yeah.
How can someone heal themselves of that particular way?
So,
if I could say that particular.
Yeah.
So maybe it's a healing you need.
Right. So I do a lot of training on self-awareness. And again, people with, whether you have a doctor's degree or no degree at all, I work with anyone. Sometimes the non-degrees are more acceptable and open to changing than those of us who have a lot of knowledge. And so I've been across the world dealing with everybody in every school of thought. And the joy of seeing the person who doesn't have the degree, they grasp the concept of growing and learning and experiencing how they listen better than those of us who are filled with so much information. So this training, hopefully, the goal is to transform the way we think and how we experience our clients and our lives experience in the community, to transform us as workers, to become better workers in what we do. And then hopefully people come with that mindset.
All right. All right. We due for another break. Let's take it. We come back and we still chat some more. Stay with us, folks. And this next segment, folks, if you listeners and viewers out there do have a question or two, of course, about what our conversation is about this morning, feel free to call 435-2041. Give us a call when we come back. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Well, that was easy.
You don't know nothing about. That's my Grenada, Carriacou, and the Pity Martinique, 3 islands so unique. 3 different islands that What a country entails. Not just beautiful beach, all the culture that's rich. You'll enjoy your friendship. Come and see for yourselves. Come behold what we sell. What a country entails. Not just beautiful beach, all the culture that's rich. You'll enjoy your friendship. Come and see for yourselves. Come behold what we sell. What a country entails. Not just beautiful beach, all the culture that's rich. You'll enjoy your friendship. Come and see for yourselves. Come behold what we sell. What a country entails. Not just beautiful beach.
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back, viewers. It's To The Point here on Classic Radio GBN TV. I have Michelle and Lisa with me this morning. And, of course, Lisa is from Creating Lasting Solutions. And, of course, we have Michelle from Advocacy, Grenada, Inc. And we're talking this morning. Let's switch the conversation just a wee bit. We have rolled with the introduction and so forth. I'm seeing we already have a caller before my next question. Let's grab the caller and then we get with my next question. Caller, good morning. You're welcome.
Thank you very much for taking my call. A pleasant good morning to you and the panelists. I am suffering with a disability almost 4 years now. And I find myself in a situation where I'm being shunned away from the public, I should say. Most people in the public treat me with a level of scorn. But I do laud and appreciate the initiative. I do hope that all what has been said can come into fruition. I don't know, there's some other matters that I would like to discuss, but not on air, really. But on the other hand, the lady to the extreme left, I cannot see her face on the screen, and this is a problem that I've been having for the longest while. She is in a dark spot. I do hope that the television station can do something better to that than, with that. And, for the launching of the program and whatnot, well, I'm listening attentively, and I hope that I'll be able to attend and to be a part of this thing because, I'm suffering badly here at this moment, So thank you very much for taking
All right.
call.
We didn't get the kind of disability that you suffer from, so maybe we could have a hint of that if you wish to say that. I think he probably dropped out already.
Right, but you are welcome, and I'm sorry that you're unable to see me. I'm going to wave my hand just a little so that you can have a little bit of visibility.
We are seeing her great.
I'm not too sure if it's because of my complexion, but I'm right here, and we welcome you as well to the launch. I would want to hear more from you. I know that maybe there's a lot that you have to share, so we invite you as well to come on down and we can have that conversation. Ms. Griffith and I surely would like to meet you and have the discussion, other members of the board as well. So you're welcome to come on down.
All right. We do have another caller. We lost that caller there. Apology for that. A caller, of course, you could call us back. And, as the caller who called about the disability, how concerning are your particular establishment in terms of disability in Grenada?
Right. So now we have to break down a lot of barriers that exist in Grenada. And just as the caller said, and that goes to attitudinal barriers, the way we see people with physical disabilities.
All right. Just hold your thought. We'll come back. Let's take another caller. Caller, good morning. You're welcome.
Greetings, Mr. Telesford. How are you?
Not too bad, sir. How are you?
I'm quite all right by the grace of God. Listen, good morning to Miss Michelle, and what's the other one? I know these days I don't really like to call people a name, save and except they give me the authority at that level of confidence. But anyway, they were introduced as Lisa and Michelle.
Yes, go right ahead. No problem.
No, take it easy, Mr. Telesford. You're Russian. My comment this morning in the form of just made an observation, you see. 2008, take a look at that number, that year. The United Nations approved for implementation a convention on the rights of people with disabilities after spending the previous 15 years or 18 years discussing it. I am happy to hear that today, in 2024, at least a person who's been working with these people with disabilities in this country, is now taking a step forward and beginning to advocate for the rights, plight, and status of said group of people in this here country in excess of 26,000 cases according to the last census. I'm happy and I laud and applaud Miss, what's the name again? The one is Michelle on it for whatever reason. I don't know. I don't feel comfortable calling people in the name. I'm happy to hear that. But where were you, Miss, before? For 13 years in this country as a blind person, come back here understanding my rights have been stepped on, mobility, accessibility, all there is. None of you raise your voices to defend people with disabilities. Today in this here country, we have people dying in their houses for lack of medication, lack of treatment, lack of respect. With disability, people with disabilities, nothing was said prior. I asked myself why Matthew 23 is crystal clear, you know. Yes, he said, woe unto you, ... But this is my position. My position is that after all these years, observing all the abuses of the Grenada National Council of Disability and their fraudulent activity, none of y'all ever came out. But today we registered as an NGO. Boy, that rings a bell. Nice opportunity to go out there and solicit more cash and kind on behalf of our people that you do not represent. Articles 1 to 4. Between the obligations of the state, of the convention, between 1 and 4, crystally establishes what the state parties shall do. This is not your duty. Of course, it's a nice effort, but it is the duty of the state to guarantee the rights of people with disabilities with the appropriate legislation. But enjoy yourselves. But remember that this crazy blind jackass is outside there watching y'all. And don't invite me to your ringy-dingy because I ain't coming. I ain't coming to no pity party. Have a nice day, will you, Mr. Telesford, for what it's worth, sir?
Thank you, sir. Have a great day yourself. And any response to the caller?
And thank you, Mr. Rolo, for your comments. No, there are times, and I agree with you, that maybe much more could have been done before. But the opportunity has to be right as well. And I believe that the opportunity is now for me to do this. My intention is genuine. My intention is to work with and for people with disabilities. I've been doing it for more than 25 years, and I will continue to do it. It is not about myself, but this is the opportune time for me within my career as well, for me to step out and to get more involved. You are correct. There maybe should have been a lot more being done. But there are times that we have to step out because I being also a government worker, there are sometimes your hands are tied to certain things that you're allowed to say and not to say. But with having a non-governmental organization, it allows for me now to be able to do more and to advocate more for people with disabilities. I would still give you that invitation to be a part. I know you have a lot to offer. We have had conversations, so I know you have a lot to offer. And I will be having the discussion with you, and I would want for you to be a part of this non-governmental organization in more or less, we need to have pressure groups that would influence, that would advocate, that will more or less try our very best to get government to make sure that they have a disability act for people with disabilities. So it is your opinion, but I also believe that it is our right as citizens, it is our right to make sure that we work for and with people with disabilities. You have your human rights. People with disabilities, you have their human rights, but we see that it can be infringed upon. And we need to break down these attitudinal barriers that exist in our country. It is not our intention to be soliciting funds for our own personal gain, but it is about helping people with disabilities in Grenada to live that quality of life. Mm-hmm. Keep looking on, but I don't only want you to look on, but I want you to be a part of Advocacy Grenada, Inc.
All right. Lisa, you want to respond? Anything to call?
Yeah, and I think also part of the Advocacy Grenada Inc. is we're going to collaborate with the government as well. There's been times when we're going to work together to kind of spread the information, the news across the island as to what is available. There are things that the NGO will be doing, which is handing out information, bringing awareness, doing a campaign awareness, so that people are aware where they can go to get help, and then also bringing resources to them. We plan to give away things to the individuals, but not just material stuff, but get people from the medical field, and so to do some campaigning or some information or workshops in local communities, and to go into like deep areas of Grenada that they're not coming out to get help. So we've got to go into the rural areas and say, here's what we can do to help you.
Simple way, it has to start somewhere.
Right, and if I should mention, we do have already an offer from a particular church organization in a rural area who is willing to partner with us. So one of the first things that we'll be doing, we know that now it's all about independence, so we want that to sort of close off, and we'll be having a closed distribution. We'll be given a rural area in Grenada, but the focus is on people with disabilities. So we'll be partnering with a church organization, the welfare department of that church, and we'll be going out within a community. Presently, what would happen is a needs assessment will be done at the end of this month, so that we know exactly the area that we'll be targeting. So that's one of the first activities that we'll be doing.
We do have another caller. Caller, good morning. You're welcome.
Yes, good morning. Good morning to you on the wonderful program and the nice panelists this morning. I'm so grateful for these people that are there to help people like me, because after 5 years of suffering 2 strokes and cannot walk, I'm so grateful that somebody will be helping me to get some therapy. Thank you very much. I really wish I could be on the program so I could get some therapy. Thank you very much.
Thank you, caller. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
And as we were saying, that there are people at home. Something simple as a ramp, maybe for them to just have access, or even having a wheelchair, so that they can just at least go into their community, wheel themselves around, and so on, that they can have access. So we want to even look at that, partnering with donor agents that's outside of Grenada, who we know are willing to contribute things like, and to donate things like wheelchairs and so on, and canes, white canes and all of that, and other assistive technology for people with disabilities. So it is our intention as well to work along with these outside donor agents.
Okay, we do have another caller. Caller, good morning, welcome.
Hi, good morning to you, GT, and good morning to you. I listened to the program this morning, and we talk about disability. Sometimes we see somebody could use their hands, you don't see no fault in their body. And you look at this person and you feel they're normal. But to get in contact closely with that person, then you come to realize that person have a disability. And most of the people some of these people fall into the cracks. They don't get help. Because just imagine somebody can identify numbers. That person go to school and come out, grow up, have children, and they still have this disability. So sometimes we need to get closer to people and see that they have a problem and them could get help. Because we have people that even go to the school from a young age, reach 18 years, and they come out from the special school and they can't do nothing. They can't use their hands, nothing, like if they get neglect into the school, and that's happening right in this country. Yeah, people go into the school small, they grow up to reach 18 years, and they come out and they can't even do sign language. So I don't know what is the situation, but with this group now, where perhaps you get in contact with people and you could see the disability in them, and then perhaps they could get help. Because just imagine a big person grow up in the community, make children, and then you could identify something wrong with them. Because if you can't identify numbers, something definitely wrong with you, and I find this person need help. Thank you.
Thank you, caller. Thank you so much.
So it goes back again to our education system. we have moved from what we may call exclusion, segregation, integration to inclusion. Before we know that when someone had some disability that is seen or maybe even unseen, they were kept at home. And that we know was, of course, exclusion.
Yes.
But as time went on, you saw that we had special schools where we had children now attending special school, children with disabilities. Later, we had what we call integration, where you had children with special needs being placed in the mainstream school. It may not mean that they were getting the appropriate services and accommodation provided for them, but they are integrated into the mainstream schools, or what we call regular schools.
And we've seen some that even excelled.
Right. And however, yes, and we do have that as well. But that is integration. What we also have happening now, presently within our education system, is that of a move towards inclusion. So you find that some of the children, for example, we have children in Grenada who are deaf, children who are blind, children who are autistic, children with other learning disabilities, as this lady spoke about, that is unseen, that are now within the mainstream school. And I believe that what is happening is a focus from the government point of view to make sure that the services are provided. Now, what we want to do as Advocacy Grenada Inc., because we have directors who are trained in inclusion, in inclusive education, to also provide training through the Ministry of Education for teachers, as well as to provide training for parents in how they can work with their children. It is sad that many of our children have more or less slipped through the crack, but we have also had examples of students who have excelled. So we know it can work. We know that inclusion can work. So we intend as well to offer training. Some of the training will be free for our teachers, our educators. Inclusion is not something you can just do. It's not a one-off. It's a process. And we will be offering training as well, giving that invitation to the Ministry of Education so that we can train our educators and parents as well in inclusive education, in some of the methods, the pedagogy, in how to teach special education needs children within our schools.
A key question is folks may ask, you being a non-governmental organization, funding, how is that going to be taken care of?
Right, and that's a good question. We are going to be dependent on writing project proposals. Right now we're at zero. Okay? We intend to write project proposals so that we can seek funding, whether it's from United Nations, whether it's from all the donor agents that you have outside of Grenada, to assist with that, because we intend to offer training, as we said, very big education. Education is the key to success. Educating our population in terms of our populace, in terms of working with people with disabilities, to how we treat people with disabilities, the appropriate terms to use, and sort of avoiding some of the derogatory terminologies and phrases that we use. The way we communicate when we are working with people with disabilities, and that is where Lisa would come in now with her session next week. A lot too will be focused on the family, working with people with disabilities and their families, and people with disabilities as well within that training, because we will have counselors and social workers and so on as part of that, parents as well as part of that training.
We do have another caller. Caller, good morning. You're welcome.
Hello, good morning. I tune in late, but I'm a mother of 2 special needs children. They're not physically disabled, but my son is severely autistic. My daughter, I assume, is on the spectrum. Well, I presume that you all know the situation in Grenada here coming towards diagnosis and so on and so forth and so on. So I not to go through that. But I reach late. So I would like some, probably a contact or something whereby I could get some more information about you all so I could probably be a part of. something. I'm a strong advocate for persons with disabilities here in Grenada, and I would love to see some kind of action. It's been 18 years I'm going through this, and no change. Education-wise, health-wise, social-wise, all these wises, nothing has changed. And so I would like to get a contact to see if in any way I could probably be a part of it, or my children could probably benefit in some kind of way or so. Thank you very much. You all be blessed and have a great day.
Thank you, caller. Thank you so
caller.
much.
So you can contact me on 406-2337, 406-2337, or you can email us on Advocacy Grenada Inc., advocacygrenadainc@gmail.com. You can also send a message to us on our Instagram page, Advocacy Grenada Inc., or our Facebook page, Advocacy Grenada Inc. You can send us a message there. Our public relations officer is very good with responding and so on. So feel free to contact us through any of those medium. Thank you for wanting to be a part of our NGO as well. As we said, our launch is going to be on Wednesday the 24th. It is going to be at the Olympic House. So even if we did not give you an invitation, feel free to pass in. You're welcome to pass in. I think I recognize the voice, so feel free to pass in. We will be there from 9 in the morning. And you can also, if you so desire to be there from 9 in the morning, feel free to pass in as well.
Okay.
So we look forward to seeing you and meeting with you and having further discussion with you.
Let's take another caller. We drew for a break, but let's take off this caller with it before the break. Caller, good morning. You're welcome.
Good morning to you, GT, and your guests. I'm no scientist or doctor or anything, but I'd like to ask your guests if during periods before birth, mothers to be are instructed that proper prenatal care can prevent some of the disabilities that we see in society. Thank you.
Thank you, caller. Thank you. I'm not sure if you grasp where the caller was speaking.
Well, yes, it is correct to say so. Sometimes, but it's not in all cases. There are things where it's hereditary. It can be because of accidents. It can be because of other health issues somebody may have. Because when we look at things as someone having a stroke and all of that, it's a disability. If it is that you have some physical problem after and so on, all of that. So. It's not now about trying to fix the disability. This is what you call like a medical model to things. Mm-hmm. But what we should be doing is about educating society in how to work with people with disabilities, how we can educate ourselves to see people with disabilities just as ourselves, wanting to live fulfilled lives. They are citizens of Grenada who are giving back and can give back even more if we give them that opportunity. Yeah. Right. Whether it's in the workplace as well. Yeah. In the workplace. Whether it is when they go for a loan, whether it is in helping them with their small business. And we have been promoting on our site for now that we're having the independence and opportunities for vendors to go out there and show their work and so on. We're saying, you have talents, go out there. Be a part of the vending and so on that's happening during this independence at the exhibition and so on. So we are trying to promote that. Lisa?
Michelle, you also mentioned about election time. Why don't we have the booth set up for people who may be blind to be able to vote on their own?
Yes.
So that somebody's not voting for them and voting the wrong places and things like that. And have wheelchair accessibility for people to come to those places to vote.
Right.
How do we make that happen for those who are not able to get to the
because I don't. If I am blind, who says that when I say to you, put the X there, that you go and you put it the right place for me? All it takes is having that discussion with the Resource Center for the Blind and so on, who will have the embosser and so, and even maybe the electoral office purchasing that embosser, where they would emboss all of the symbols and so on, so that somebody who is visually impaired, who knows Braille, because you must know Braille as well, to go in and you can do that voting process for yourself. So we have to get to that place. And that is what, when we talk about independent living, that we need to get there.
All right. We due for a break. Let's take that break. We come back. In our final segment. We can probably take another call or two and then get into our closing comments when we come back. Stay with us, folks. We'll be right back here on To The Point.
I want you to control your anger. There's a way to feel better. That's one thing to remember. No matter where you are, you can be a star. Stop and take a deep breath and relax yourself. Take another deep breath and relax it, and relax it. Eliminate violence.
On Caribbean Passport, join us for Trinidad and Tobago Carnival. Witness the spectacle of the mass, the music, and the energy. Then we'll sprint over to Barbados for the Run Barbados Marathon. It's color, revelry, and tons of excitement on Caribbean Passport, right here on this station.
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back, viewers. We probably still could accommodate a couple more calls. We have approximately 5 minutes or so left on today's show. Let's take another caller before we take our closing comments. Caller, good morning. Welcome.
Hi, good morning.
Caller, before you continue, would you mind please lowering your radio or television in the background? Before you continue.
I was calling to say, you said the lady was saying, sorry about that. Not good at name. She was saying you're training the teachers and other people. Why not thinking about training caregivers and the doctors? Because they come first when coming to emergency for disabled people. Because remember, like you're helping them, you need to do therapy, all these things. You need to train the doctors first and give them the education or to start healing instead of you have to be there mentally, physically to be there for them. That's the most important thing for these people.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your contribution this morning.
The training is open to everyone who's in the helping field. So we kind of hone in on the counselors and teachers because that's who deal mostly. But you're right, the people who kind of help with the diagnosis of individuals with disabilities, medical field, and anyone, as I said at the beginning, anyone can be trained how to do solution focus. You don't have to have a degree. I have a lot of staff who work for me who are non-degree. They're fantastic in what they do because they grasp the concept very easily, as I said. So anyone can be trained in solution focus approach. But I do agree with you. The medical field is very important because if I have a doctor who's not listening to me, I've had those experiences, and I know what to do. I was probably pause and look at the doctor and said, you're not listening to me. I can verbalize that and say that to him or her. And they look at me very, embarrassed. But the point is that you're there to help me, and so you should know to listen to me. So I do tell my doctors when I don't feel listened to. So you're right. Let's start with the medical field as well.
All right. Let's take our final caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome.
Morning, GT, and morning to the ladies. One of the things I want to talk about is like the lady. I don't know if she have this experience. Maybe she'll be able to say. But what I'm saying is here now is, would she advise women when they are pregnant at a certain stage of the pregnancy, certain things to look at and don't do? because from experience with my granny, she had shown me, and I see at certain stage of a woman pregnancy, you must not look like certain things like a monkey, the things it's doing, a frog, a lot of things. Somebody crippled and you're going behind them all the time and doing all these things. These are certain things we nowadays, in this generation, we don't look at that. But my grandmother showed me some example, and she told me, look at this lady, what she's doing. When the child born, the child came out like that. In a serpent, this lady was looking at a serpent, a black and white serpent, when she in this small, tender age of the pregnancy. When that child born, that child's skin is tactile just as the serpent. So in women today, they don't know that a lot of disability is certain things you're looking at when you are in a dire stage of your pregnancy. Thank you.
Thank you, caller. Thank you so much. You want to respond to the call?
I think basically back to these may be true for what people believe, but it's also a natural fact about medical issues that can happen when a woman is pregnant. Hypertension is something that leads to difficulty in pregnancy. So I'm not a doctor, so I'm not going to go into that in depth right now. But there are things that happen in pregnancy that could. Did you know that the child is going to have some disabilities when the child is born? Doctors could see that now through all of the examination that they do. So what causes things, that's not my field of expertise.
I however want to say that from my perspective, we have to be careful with some of the taboos. Yeah. It is the reason why some of these antiquated ways of thinking that has caused us to have that scornful way we treat people with disabilities, because we believe that it's because of something that the mother may have done. So this is a penalty or a punishment. And these are the barriers. These are the things that we have to break down. Sometimes, as Lisa was saying, it's some medical condition and so on that may cause that. However, I am open, but I also believe that some of the taboos that we have, maybe these are some of the reasons why we look at people with disabilities in a particular way. So even our attitudinal barriers, and that's what I'm saying, is what we have to break down. And even it is not about what caused the disability. That's fine. The disability is here. It's now about how we can work along and accommodate and appreciate people with disabilities. All right. We're not concerned about the condition. Yeah.
Sometimes it's not relevant to the whole situation.
It's not relevant to what caused it. We're here now. This is the challenge that the person has. How can we help them to live that fulfilled life, to be a part of society? And that's the focus of Advocacy Grenada Inc.
I'm seeing a comment from someone before we take some closing comments. Someone on Facebook is making this comment. They're saying, good morning. This is another NGO. The question, what is the role of the Council of the Disabled? What is the there are trained teachers in our schools who usually identify special needs students and recommend for their parents for that his or her child should be transferred to the school for special education. Maybe students have already been integrated into second schools. I'm trying to get the flow of what the comment did over the years, and they just said they applaud the initiative for continuous training.
Right. So we intend to work along with other non-governmental organizations. We don't intend, and that's the problem that we have. Everybody's working in isolation. Yes. But it is our intention to work with government. It is our intention to work with other non-governmental organizations such as GNCD and other organizations that are working with people with disabilities. We would want for everyone to come together. It's our intention to work along with the Ministry of Education. There are teachers working with students with disabilities, but we also can assist in providing further training, because we hear people crying out. They need training. We look at our teacher education department, which is at T.A. Marisho Community College. Are they fit now with what is happening, the trend, what is happening in terms of education? Yeah. Is the curriculum suited for inclusive practices?
So that will be talking specialty training.
Exactly. So within our organization, there are persons who are trained people who are teaching at university level, special education, who can offer this sort of a training to our teachers.
right.
So I want to talk about some of our directors at this time.
Go right
So we have persons such as, we also have persons in the accounting field. We have people within other areas, right? So we have, for example, Mr. Keith Guy Renwick, who is our compliance officer. We also have Mrs. Shirla Harris Fields, who is our treasurer. We also have as well Zinzi Noel, our public relations officer. We have Mr. Alan Sylvester as well, who is part. So we have people who are in the diaspora as well as people locally so that they can advocate for us out there. We have some founding members who are in Miami, as well as persons in Washington, D.C. as well. So we have more or less, in terms of the directors, and I being the president and founder of this organization, I have thought about who I would want to be a part of this organization. People who are on the ground, people who are movers and shakers, and have people with disability at heart so that we can push this work forward.
All right, great. Lisa, any closing comments from you?
Well, I look forward to meeting the participants. I think we have about 30 people registered right now, and so we're excited about that. And I look forward to doing more work. Of course, part of the Advocacy Grenada Inc., we will be doing a lot of fundraising outside of Grenada to make sure that we have consistent resources coming. I learned a lot about different toys and things that is needed for sensory learning. I learned a lot from Michelle from that. So those are the things that we're going to be gathering when we go back home. It's not just money, but also the toys and tools that kids will need till they could take home. I don't just want tools for the schools. We want the tools to go home, the equipment to go home with the kids, so the other siblings could also learn from those toys and tools that we have to share with those kids.
Some are actually on the way, but our shipping got
there's a whole bunch of toys
problem on the way.
Right.
Yes.
I want to thank you both. Let me give the right names for those who say we were not saying the right names. So that's Michelle Brathwaite and of course Penelope Griffith?
Lisa Griffith.
Lisa Griffith. Penelope Lisa Griffith. She said give her all 3 names. I want to thank you, ladies, for popping by this morning. And of course, to speak about your organization, the NGO. I think it's a great initiative you folks are getting into, and it will benefit a lot, especially the Grenadians who need that sort of service here in Grenada. They certainly benefit a whole lot. And thanks a whole lot for being here, and all the best wishes goes out also for the lunch and for the workshop. Hope folks come out and just be part of it. Thank you once again.
Thank you for having us. And also look out on our social media page where we'll be asking for volunteers, because the activities that we'll be having, we'll need a lot of people to be volunteering to come on board as we go out there within the communities. Thank you again for having us, GBN.
All right. Well, you're certainly welcome. Hey, folks, that's how we take a wrap for today's edition of To The Point, our final edition for this week. Join me again on Monday for another edition. All the best, folks. Have yourself a good one. That's where I say goodbye. And all the best.